Hello and welcome to Rubbin Minds. My name is Hero Daniels. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon, and today we're going to be exploring very hot conversations in the political and entertainment space. As we all know, there is a new INEC boss in town, and he has literally been on everyone's lips with the appointment of Professor Joash Amopitan, SEN, as the chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission. Nigerians are beginning to have hope as to what the 2027 elections will bring. While some parties are of the opinion that he's a man of integrity, other people are concerned about the fact that he was appointed by the incumbent president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which is constitutionally guaranteed. However, people have always been of the opinion that when a sitting president actually appoints the INEC chairman, will the INEC chairman work for Nigerians, or will the INEC chairman work for the president? Now, these are conversations that we will be exploring, and to discuss INEC and the road to 2027 elections, can new leadership restore trust for Nigerians? Is a lawyer. He's right here in the studio with me, Justice Ojie No. Welcome to the program.
It's my pleasure to join you.
How you doing?
Fantastic.
Oh, all right. I'm just going to get straight into it. Yes, we have a new dispensation for the Independent National Electoral Commission, and a lot of people are saying that before this transition happened, the past INEC chairman, Professor Yakubu, is yet to tell Nigerians what caused the glitch. What is your opinion on that?
Okay, for me, I'm particularly devastated at the administration of Mahmoud Yakubu as to what caused the glitch. Is in the best position to actually answer. I feel that his tenure was disastrous. It was a shame, a grand show of shame to the academia when it comes to his appointment to that office. And it is doubly a grander show of shame, because he was particularly brilliant academically in history. He was a graduate of history. He was the best graduating student, first class, from a Nigerian university, went abroad, went to Oxford, went to Cambridge, got a master's and a PhD, became a professor. Despite all those, he came to get the reins of power in INEC, and it was more than disastrous. We were on an upward trajectory with Professor Jega back in 2011 and 2015, only for him to take over the reins of power, and all we started experiencing was a nosedive until this country was almost crashed in 2023 with the greatest level of voter apathy looming, because of how terribly it dashed the hopes of the average Nigerian that for the first time decided to have faith in the electoral process. So I am particularly absolutely ashamed of his tenure as a leader in INEC.
Okay, so the new INEC chairman, a lot of people have described him as being very apolitical. We cannot trace any political ties to the current chairman. So I'm going to quickly speak to our guest joining us virtually. He's also a lawyer, Festus Ogun. Welcome to the program. What are your thoughts on the new electoral boss?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Very well. For me, I do not think the trouble with INEC or the trouble with our justice of our electoral system, I do not believe it lies really with the leadership or with whosoever is going to lead the commission. The question that remains pertinent for me is, leaving aside the issue of the process of appointing the INEC boss, the question is that, do we have a system that is ready and capable of dispensing electoral justice to the people of our country? That's, for me, the biggest question. You see, for me, the greatest challenge with INEC is first, the Electoral Commission doesn't play by its rules. Before the 2023 elections, there were rules. INEC provided guidelines for the election. There were bylaws made by INEC all by itself. We had the Electoral Act enacted in 2022. But what we saw was an INEC that failed to substantially comply by the guidelines that is set to conduct the very election. So for me, I feel that, well, we have a new leadership, but the new leadership must be willing and committed to do something very different.
Yeah, and
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me, the academic background. It doesn't matter to me the amount of laurels that the leadership.
All right, Mr. Festus.
The INEC has.
Yeah.
What is more important to me is the willingness and readiness of INEC to play by the rules.
Okay, so also people have said that he is a new player in this particular system, and some people are of the opinion that he might not necessarily understand the ropes yet. And there's some people that are asking the question, why are some senior officers within the system in itself not appointed? Why do we have to bring in somebody new to actually head such an important body? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think he has enough time to learn on the job and conduct a credible 2027 elections? Festus?
Conducting an election is not rocket science, if you ask me. I would say that, look, what is needed is the commitment to stand by the people of our country and without playing by the dictates or the tone of the political actors. All that the people of our country need, whether you are from the academia, whether you are from the private sector, or whether you are a civil servant, whatsoever your background is, what matters to our country is that when we go on election day to cast our vote, are those votes going to count? So we want a leadership that is committed to playing by the rules. When they put out guidelines, no, we don't want a leadership that will tell us to go to court. Oh, if you are not satisfied, go to court. That is what we saw in the last dispensation. Oh, if you are not comfortable with the election we have conducted, go to court. Knowing fully well that the current legal and electoral jurisprudence in the country doesn't favor whosoever go to court. It's not fashioned in a way that favors whosoever go to court. So they tell you go to court. The kind of electoral system that the people of our country are yearning for is that kind that will reflect the will and aspiration of our people. Is that kind that plays by its very own rules. Is that kind that protects the vote of our people, not the kind that collude with the political elite, but in subverting the will and aspiration of our people. So, regardless of the background of whosoever is leading INEC, it is my considered view that what matters more to our people is that our votes begin to count. Is that those at the end of our affair are responsible and are willing to take responsibility for any infraction or any inadequacies that comes along the way, because we do not expect an extremely perfect system. But when there are responsibilities, when there are issues, we want a leadership that will take on this issue, that will take responsibility, and not the kind of leadership that treats our countrymen with contempt, with derision, and tells our countrymen almost at every instance to go to court. Just go to court if you are not satisfied with what election that we have conducted. Okay. We want an INEC that doesn't leave the job of conducting election or choosing leaders to the court.
Festus.
I'm sorry.
No, I understand the passion you're speaking with, I understand the passion. We're going to get back to you because we need to actually sample Justice's opinion. Now, from what Festus is saying, you can see that he's speaking passionately about the
Festus is a very passionate person.
About the independence of our institutions. We see a current government, building houses for judges, which I mean, it's a good thing. I believe that the people at the helm of affairs of the judicial system should be comfortable. So I don't necessarily fault that.
But it shouldn't be a direct gift from politicians to judges.
So
should be, the judiciary should be funded sufficiently to directly, not just a current expenditure, but also capital expenditure to the point where the judiciary can take out of the money. The Chief Justice of Nigeria can take out of the money and build houses for judges. We do not have to pander to some politicians in order to be able to get such gifts.
So are you maybe insinuating that that could also be some sort of gesture leading up to 2027?
You're putting me in a very, very difficult position. And Festus, my very, very good friend too. We know how we talk about these things within our circles, and we are careful not to say it outside.
I know you're a lawyer.
Yes, of course, I'm a lawyer, and Festus too can bear me witness on this. We deal with ourselves seriously in private, but when it comes to public, we try in a way not to, because there's a tendency for it to be misinterpreted. I fully agree with you on the point where inducement, political inducement, financial inducements by way of giving judges what they are naturally entitled to, because you have to know the position of a judge. A judge is a person that has devoted his life to that particular job. Is in essence, in a manner of speaking, a hermit. They are isolated. They cannot go to parties. They cannot hug their friends in public. Even when they go for holidays, their compulsory holidays every year, it is to one isolated situation and things like that, because they cannot lead the normal lives that the average persons lead. I no matter how successful in my career, I've sworn that I will never ever be a judge, because I do not want to be gagged in a gulag, in a manner of speaking, because of the kind of restrictions that they face. So when it now comes to some of the things that they deserve, and they are to be seen and not to be heard, when they are in courtrooms that are not air-conditioned, and the offices of the executive governors are fully air-conditioned, and they are joining in tricycles with suspects. Just imagine that. That happens in our country, where a judge is in a keke with a suspect, a robbery suspect. What do you think is the fate of that? Do you not think that particular suspect can harm that judge? Yeah. So sometimes it now forces judges to. Let me just stop there.
I understand. And we're going to get back to how we can truly make our institutions independent and autonomous, as they should be. However, let's get back to the conversation so we don't swerve off. Billions and billions of naira are being allocated every single election cycle. The last time, billions of naira were allocated, and we're still having issues with the technology, you know, the beavers, the voting machines, etc., etc. And how are we sure that such a thing will not occur in 2027? Because I'm pretty sure that a lot of money will be allocated towards the elections as well. What do you think you have to tell the new INEC chairman? What does he have to do with his new leadership to ensure that all the technology function as they should?
He should check his conscience. It's only his conscience that can save Nigerians. A lot of deals are caught in the back in order to be able to get some of these people. I'm not insinuating that that was what was done for him. And he must perpetually be reminded that history will remember him. If he does it for good, or if he doesn't do it for good. Like Mahmoud now, he has had his time. And for me, except they are trying to write terrible history, Mahmoud was a total and absolute show of shame. So I feel that he must always remember that he will be judged. And if he remembers that he will be judged, we will not have to bother ourselves with, oh, EFCC should be put in place, ICPC should be put in place, the civil society and things like that. If we have all those things in place, and we do not have a person that has the conscience to do the right thing by Nigerians, it will all be like water that is poured inside a basket. No matter the best efforts, the basket will never be full.
Okay, Festus, what are your thoughts on this same particular question? What do you think the INEC needs to do differently leading up to 2027?
Well, for me, I would say that, yes, they should play by the rules. We do not have a perfect electoral law. No country in the world has perfect laws. But as it were, are we even playing by the rules? I do not think so. We want a leadership in INEC that is willing to comply by the rules. But again, realistically, that would be difficult because of the kind of electoral system that we operate now. We need to go back to the wise electoral reform report. We need to adopt that. The duty of appointing, chairman of INEC and REC should not be left to the president and the other bodies. It should not be left to the president. We were in this country, this same country, some few years ago, when the late President Muhammadu Buhari nominated one of his aides as REC. Thankfully, the Senate rejected the said person. But the president at the time to have the audacity to appoint or to nominate for appointment one of his political aides demonstrates to you the esteem with which the political elite in our country take INEC. So, yes, as it's where they should comply by the rules, but if we are truly serious for true reform, then we need to go back to that wise report and really ensure that we implement it. Again, we also need an INEC that is truly committed to the adoption of technology in the conduct of elections. And when I'm talking about this, I'm really talking about the true adoption of IREV. And we can only help ourselves by ensuring that the framework for IREV is legislated in our law, so that we would not have the kind of experience we had in 2023, where they have in their guidelines and on their website and all of that, they created a structure for IREV. But when we got to court, the position was that this is not necessarily supported by law. So we want the commitment, we want them to play by the rules, and we also want a more strengthened legal framework for our electoral system.
That is very brilliant. However, I think we can all agree that the job of a smooth election is not just left to INEC. We need to make sure that every other stakeholder is fully involved, from the political parties, to the security agencies. Now, speaking about the political parties, do you think we have a viable opposition that could possibly checkmate whatever that might come up in 2027? Also, what measures do you think the security agencies are putting in place? Are they also independent? Because obviously the federal government controls the security agencies. Absolutely. So these are some of the questions that the everyday Nigerian has. Well, what do you have to say about that?
Okay, I feel that there is enough, there is substantial opposition if they are not splintered. I feel that they don't stand a chance in the farthest part of hell if they do not all come together. And by all, I mean almost all the significant ones. If we have to drop names, Labour Party has to join powers with the PDP and has to join power with the ADC. So maybe the others too can join along the way in some way, shape or form. But if that doesn't happen, if just the two of them form, in a manner of speaking, Voltron, it will be incomplete Voltron to be able to take on the mega mound APC and the political sagacity of the president, which we must not throw to the dogs. It's very, very significant and important. So if the political parties can come together, yes, there is viable opposition against the incumbent ruling party. Having said that, with respect to the security agencies, we have to remind them of their constitutional duty. Their loyalty is supposed to be to the Constitution at all times, and not to any political party or any power that be at the moment. So as much as possible, if they all remember this and they all decide to stand by this, and by they, I mean the security agencies, I think that they will be able to do right by the Nigerian people. And this time, much more of Nigerians will have direct and correct take on who eventually becomes the leader of this country, and it should not be politicians in one way or another choosing themselves or recycling themselves by manipulating the process.
All right, Justice. And Festus, how do you think Nigerians can regain trust again, not just in the political system, but in their country? How can we regain that trust again?
Well, for me, I would say that the way and manner people can regain trust is for those in the helm of affairs to deliver the dividend of democracy to our countrymen. As far as I'm concerned, I laugh hysterically when people tell me we do not have an opposition. We are only looking at it from the prism of a political party or all this PDP, ADC, and the Labour Party and the rest of them. I do not think so. I'm not really distracted by the theatrics of those who are, Labour Party or PDP or ADC in the day and they are APC at night. Those are not the real opposition. Those who are real oppositions, as it were, are the suffering people of this country who are suffering the adverse effects of the misrule that we witness on a daily basis. They are the young persons who are out of school. They are the young persons who have no job. They are those who cannot afford health care. They are those who cannot afford the daily bread. These are the real opposition. And let me tell you the truth. Our people are waiting for 2027 to show their, very discontent against the current authorities. So, for me, I believe, yes, we might not have the opposition in the sense of having a political party that is, really, fighting strongly against, the misrule that we witness on a daily basis. But I can tell you that the real opposition are the people who are suffering in this country. And I'm very confident that in no distant time they are going to come out and, express their dissatisfaction at the ballot. And I feel that the security agencies should be told in very clear terms that this is not business as usual. 2027 is not going to be business as usual. The young people of this country, particularly, will come out en masse.
Yeah.
We'll see how we've been encouraging ourselves. You saw how we came out in 2023. You see that we are now more interested in taking back our country from those that have held it to ransom. So the security agencies should be advised again to play by the rules. INEC should be advised to play by the rules. And hopefully we'll get a better country that we all yearn for.
All right, thank you very much, Festus. Thank you very much, Justice, for joining us. And yes, we truly do hope that 2027 elections will be free, fair, and very, very credible. Rubbin Mind continues after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Rubbin Mind. Before we went on the break, we were discussing 2027 elections and what the new INEC boss can do to truly regain the trust of Nigerians. And right about now, we want to get into comedy. We're going to be talking about breaking barriers through laughter. And my guest is one that I'm truly proud to have in the studio today because he has truly defied all odds. Typically, people that provide laughter sometimes have this heavy burden upon themselves, to constantly make other people happy, sacrificing their own happiness. And my guest today does not just do only that. He also has a bit of a challenge that has sort of almost held him down from performing what his God-given purpose is. However, he was able to defy that particular disability and challenge, and he has truly proven to us that there is ability in every single disability. Ladies and gentlemen, I have in the studio a comedian extraordinaire, Sammy Cole. Welcome to Rubbin Minds, Baba. How you doing?
I'm actually fine, doing fine.
Yes, you are fine. Okay, so I think I remember your performance. Was this at AY Live?
Yes,
and
yes.
A couple of people were so amazed.
AY Live and Alibaba Sport Night.
And Alibaba Sport Night. A lot of people were very amazed by your performance and how you are still able to make people laugh, despite what your condition is.
Yes.
I personally do not like the word disability. I like to use the word challenge, physically challenged, as opposed to being disabled, right?
Depends.
Yeah?
It depends.
That's the terms, yes. Instead of using the word disability, the more correct term to use is physically challenged. So tell me, when did you discover humor as a tool to walk through this challenge that you have?
Actually, depending on my life experience, like people just make jest of me unnecessarily. So I use that as an humor around it. So I actually create some comedy out of it. You get? And there are sometimes that I will actually just sit my parents at home, make them laugh. You get? I sit my mom at home, make them laugh. And I actually like one of my friends advised me to go into it. And his name is Kupi.
Ah, yeah, Kupi, yes. He's my friend as well.
He actually
Kupi Niger, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
So he actually just call me that, hello, you say that you're a comedian. Come and try Alibaba Sport 90. So that is my first experience in that competition. So, and immediately they saw me, they were so surprised that, you came for this audition. I said, yes. Let me just give it a try. So
that's beautiful. So can you take me through the process? How do you come up with your jokes? I know you already mentioned that you do self-depreciating humor, which is also a technique in comedy. What's your typical process like? You know, how do you put your stories together? Just take us through that process.
Like, I can just think of a joke although all the jokes that I used to write is based on life experience. Everything is based on life experience. No fiction. No fiction. So everything is based on. You know, there are some comedians that they just form jokes on fiction. They will just go on stage, then everybody will laugh. But me, everything about me. That is it.
Okay, brilliant. Did you ever have that initial challenge of people not laughing to your jokes? Because I personally, a lot of people don't know.
No. I actually did my first experience in it was in a comedy club.
Yes, I know how tough comedy clubs can be.
Actually, I just, normally I was a skit maker. I do skits. But I just said, let me just try comedy. Then they invited me to one comedy club. As I was cracking joke, they were just looking at me like, what is this guy saying? And actually, I was not that funny that I'm actually bleeding myself that time. I'm actually like preaching, just saying story, you understand? Then after that scenario happened, then I actually bleed myself more. You understand that I won't give up on this. Then the next session, the next comedy club that I went to, and I actually saw some improvements in me. So I was like, I can do this. I can do this. So that is
beautiful. Now, I want us to measure the progress. How would you say your life has changed before comedy and after you started doing comedy?
Actually, AY life big me through limelight. That's after comedy. Anywhere anywhere, for example, they book me for a show. They'll be like, you are AY boy now. Just come and make us laugh. You understand other stuff. But before comedy, life has been tough. Because there are some times that I will have to attend free shows. So just to bring myself out to the world to see that there's nothing wrong with me, that it just don't judge me by my appearance. You get that kind of stuff.
I understand. And I'm very glad that things are beginning to pick up for you. There was something that I picked on when you were talking. You said something that sometimes you sit your parents down, you make them laugh.
Make them laugh.
And you're making a lot of people laugh. Comedy is such a beautiful tool for expression, and it could also heal a lot of hearts. What has happened, or can you tell me a scenario that has happened that made you realize that, yes, I'm actually doing something good for other people?
Like, actually, there was a day where there are some scenarios that happened in my experience in life. So actually, I went to the bank. Like, I'm a business education graduate, so I went to the bank to secure for a job. It's a true life story. So actually make me push into comedy. So like, the CEO like this, he want to work in a bank. You have to speak it in a broken way. Say you will no balance. I won't make the account balance.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
So you know it's funny.
Wait.
It's actually so funny.
Wait, you went to look for a job.
Yes.
And the CEO of the bank was interviewing you.
Yes.
And he said, you want work for this bank.
Yes.
You will no balance. You want make
Yeah.
balance. Wow. How do you, I mean, beyond the laughter, and I know I also laughed because it's truly funny, but in that moment, how did
Actually,
you
I built connection towards that. Like, no.
Did you feel bad when he said that?
No. One thing about me is that in secondary school, actually discriminate a lot. So I actually gained from that experience in secondary school.
So you had built a tough skin.
Even though you abuse me, even though you abuse me handicap, I'm not looking at you like this. I will never be angry because I know where I'm going.
That is truly inspirational. So beyond, you've been bullied.
Yes,
from
even,
a very early age.
Sorry to cut you.
Yes.
Even at the backstage when you want to perform, all the other comedians, they look like, you want to perform? I can do this now. Then they will give me some opportunity. So after the performance, they have to change their mentality towards people with disability. You know, before I perform, they were actually downgrading me that, how can you perform? How will you hold the mic? You understand? So after the performance, people are actually meeting me that I will change the mentality towards people with disability. So that is.
So you're using comedy as a tool to change the stereotype,
yes.
to change the stigma that people naturally have towards people with physical abilities.
Yes.
That is truly inspiring. You did also mention that you are a business education graduate. Can you just take us through, you know, how was it going to school? What are some of the challenges people with physical disability face? So at least we could also use this opportunity to speak to the people.
Actually, it is school, it's a special institution. It's a sped. Like it's in Oyo. Like it's a mixture of disability and non-disability people. Although 70% of them are non-disability people. Just for us to the opportunity for people to go to school. Actually, the name of the school is Federal College of Education, Oyo Special. So, in the beginning, it was tough. It was tough. Me waking up early in the morning by myself. You know, when I was in my parents' house, they would have to help me. They have to help me take my bucket to the toilet, all those restroom. But when I did everything by myself. I even cooked by myself. When on wire me, you get.
No be person tell you say make you find.
No be person tell me say, God, my instinct tell me say, God, go and take that indomie and cook.
That is truly inspirational. So finally, what do you have to say to other people that have physical challenges?
Actually, I've actually set the stage for them, so they have to just be inspiring and motivated. So I've actually opened the door for them. But one thing about this industry, inclusion is more difficult in this Nigeria. But most of the time, we just have to force them in. Because people judge by our appearance. They don't judge by the
intellectual capacity, yes.
So that is.
That is very, very profound, and we'd like to thank you for doing what you're doing, and thank you for being such a light. And I've genuinely learned a lot of things from our conversation, and I think what I'm going to end with is one key word: inclusion. So not just in the entertainment space, but in the political space, in the educational space, and even in the banking sector. I genuinely did not feel good that you were rejected from getting a bank job simply because of you were physically challenged. That is not right, all right? But all the best, and you are a shining light, so keep shining. Thank you for coming on the program. Rubbin Mind continues after this break. Stay with us.
Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time
Welcome back. This is Rubbin Minds. Before we went on the break, we were having a conversation with Sammy Cole, a brilliant comedian who is physically challenged, and he proves to us that truly there is ability in every form of perceived disability, because I personally do not think anybody is disabled. And now we're moving on to the conversation of filmmaking. Filmmaking is such a huge business, and every now and then we have new players coming to the scene. And with me to discuss filmmaking from the lens of a newbie is an actress extraordinaire who has now crossed over to the producing side, Tracy Obaho. Welcome to the program. How are you?
Thank you so much, Daniel. I'm fine.
You know, I almost thought you were going to say clock it, because you're Gen Z, aren't you?
Am I?
Are you Gen Z?
Am I?
I don't know. But yes, so first of all, congratulations. It's such a bold step moving from in front of the camera to behind. I know it's not easy to be a producer, so I'd like to say congratulations.
Thank you.
However, what prompted you to shift a bit of your focus from not just being in front of the screen, but you also wanted to be behind the scenes?
Okay, I would say it's passion. So ever since I was a child, I have this very wild imagination, and that has prompted me into going into filmmaking. So the thing is, my movie Tare, it's a movie it's actually a true life story. It happened in Binikrukru community, and but it happened before I was born, and it was told by my mom. But I actually spiced things up a little. Now, the reason why I needed to share this fame is because, number one, it's from the Niger Delta, and our stories are not being told. Our stories are not being told, and aside the fact that our stories are not being told, I strongly believe if anyone should tell your story, you are in the best position to tell it. A lot is happening in the Niger Delta, Gbaramatu to be precise, but a lot of stories that should be shown in the big screen, not just on maybe YouTube or a local channel. And so those are the things that drives me, the passion for telling stories, my wild imagination into telling this movie, into making this film, Tare. And to answer your question, why not just in front of the camera, why behind the scene? Like I said, nobody can tell your story better than you. And I've been planning this story for the past 3 years, and this is just the right time for the world to hear Tare.
Okay, let's take a step back. Let's take a step back to the very beginning. At what age did you discover that this was probably your path?
That should be 13.
13?
Yeah.
How long have you been in the industry?
So I've been off and on in the industry. So I had to go to school because I had to finish my university. I have a BSc Mass Communication, and I also have MSc in Digital Marketing. I just finished my master's last month. So I had to do all of that. But while I was in school, I was still doing filmmaking in and out. I was going for auditions. And this is actually my second movie. This is not the first film. The first one was shot in 2019. It was for Africa Magic Epic. It showed the likes of Patience Zokwa and Nusarex and that. So, yeah. So this movie, actually, Tare, is a movie that talks about the challenges of men. Should I dive into it?
You know, I like how you keep going back to this movie, this Tare. You know, you
I'm
keep
here
on
to promote Tare.
You're here for an interview.
Okay.
You know, but I wouldn't stop you from selling your market, you know. But also we want to we want to know who Tracy is.
Okay, so what do you want to know?
Be human, you know. Okay. We just want to know, you know, tell us about the challenges as a girl child when you were growing up, you know, what inspired you. We want to know you, Tracy.
Okay. I'm just going to give you a little.
Okay.
So, some of the challenges of a girl child is that they tend to overlook. Okay, they tend to overlook what you can do. What's the word now? They feel like you're not good enough. Sometimes, I'm not saying in general, I felt like I wasn't good enough. That's some of the challenges I feel some girl child, are going through. Me in particular, I've actually experienced neglect, not from my parents, but from some people that I actually look up to. And like I said, I mean, I'm so sorry, but I actually have to talk about Tare little. So that's I'm getting somewhere. When I wanted to shoot this film, because you asked about the challenges of a girl child, right? When I wanted to shoot this film, some people were like, "Oh, are you sure you can do it? Because this is a big move. This is a big screen. This is something that you're selling out to the world. What is going to make them watch it? Why do you feel like we should even give you this opportunity?" And they were like, "Oh, you can't do it. You're just a girl, and you're just a young girl." My age actually played a huge factor. And then, yeah, so I actually experienced that first time. And there were so many times they were like, "Oh, no," because I met some few persons back in 2022. I met some few persons. I'm like, "Oh, I have this vision. I want to talk about the Niger Delta stories."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, you can't. I don't think you can do it. I think you should just be acting movies. Just be in front of the camera, don't produce." So I've actually experienced that, and I know that so many girls actually going through that as well.
I like that you're able to use those challenges. You know, how do they say it? You turn your lemons into lemonade, and I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about the challenges of being a filmmaker. I've had several filmmakers come on this particular program, and it's always almost the same conversation. Issues with budgeting, issues with getting your money back. How do you raise funding? How do you get back your investment? You know, what are those challenges with being a producer? And also, like, what do you think, where do you think is best to get your money back? A lot of people are tilting towards YouTube now. So is it, do you have the YouTube play? Do you have the cinema play? Can you just tell us more about the challenges of being a producer?
Okay, this is actually my second film, but the challenges I went through, it was nothing compared to the first one I made. And one of the challenges are getting the actors to come on set. We shot in the Riverine area, and it's Baramatu Kingdom. It's called Binikroku Community. We shot some of the scenes there. We shot some in Lagos, and we shot some in Warri. And then bringing the actors, some of them were like, "Oh, they can't come because it's risky." And I had to go to the extra mile. Definitely safety first. Provided covered boats, life jackets for the actors. So that is like the first challenge. The second challenge, like you said, making your money back. Well, I strongly believe that in as much as there is a problem of trying to get back your money, it's a huge factor, it's a huge problem. I strongly believe if you make a good film, you're going to get your money. I mean, that is just me. That is my belief. If you make a good film, we've had people like Funke Akindele break the box office back-to-back, Tony Abraham and the likes of them. So yeah, I feel if you make a good film and put it out there, people are going to watch it like Tare. I believe people will watch it, and I strongly believe I'm going to make my money back. And let's address the YouTube. YouTube is also a very good avenue. Yeah, and yeah, I have a couple of movies there as well. You can see. So I have a YouTube as well, and I just want to touch. My movie is going to be YouTube. What's it called? Cinema, Netflix, everywhere. Trust me, you're going to see. You're going to see. You're going to see.
What are some of the stereotypes women face in the industry? You know, you go on social media and you hear things like Nollywood actresses buy cars first before their male counterparts. You know, what are some of those stereotypes you face?
Okay. So the thing is, there are also men who buy cars and houses every day. So I don't know why they talk about women a lot. Okay, let me tell you a little story about myself. Not really a story. I traveled to the UK 2023, and I can tell you that 70% of the movie that I used in producing Tare came from working. I was working at a restaurant. I was studying for my master's. You can't be in the UK and not work. I was working. I'm sure some people know me because I've served some celebrities. I was working at Enish restaurants in London. I was also working as a teacher, assistant teacher. I had 2 jobs and I was schooling. And I can tell you that I made a lot of money. I won't tell you that, oh, I did not have support. I had support while shooting Tare, but I can tell you that 70% of the movie came from working as a waitress and as an assistant teacher in London. while I was studying for my master's. So I don't know why people believe women can't actually work hard and achieve these things. Women can actually, in fact, they say what a man can do, a woman can do better, right? So when you see, because trust me, you're going to see me driving my Benz soon, I don't know. So when you see that, just write congratulations in the comment section. I mean, I'm going to own houses, and there are going to be money that Tare and my other projects we generate. So yeah, when you see a woman succeeding or a woman posting a picture, just say congratulations and move, because there are men every day. There are so many men that buy houses every day and nobody questions them. So why should they be questioning us?
I like that. I like that. And it is platforms like this that we can use to dispel those stereotypes so that people can know better and also do better. Yeah. You did mention that you put 70% of your personal funds into making the film, and it's an indication of an overall challenge that the industry faces. I mean, typically, you know, in Hollywood and other places, you don't usually see a lot of individual funds going into a project. You know, people get sponsors, people that will fund the business and, you know, keep it rolling. But here you are, and it's not just your story. A lot of filmmakers have to use their personal funds. Now, what structure do you think we need to put in place in Nollywood that would ensure that we have investors, as opposed to using our personal monies to actually make these films? We have investors that pay for these films, and these investors are guaranteed that they're going to make their money back.
Okay. What I would like to say first is that when you see a young girl or a young guy trying to achieve something, please support them. And there are I believe the government, I don't want to really talk about the government like that. I believe even some individual businesses, they should explore the, what was the word now? They should explore putting their money into movies. Yeah. I mean, we're
almost out of time. You have about 10 seconds now.
Okay, I'll just wrap this up. So yeah, they should just encourage filmmakers, and they can they should give young filmmakers the opportunity to say, okay, if you do this, I'm going to get our money, and they can sign contracts. They should just give them platform, and also government can also assist the upcoming movie producers and all of that.
All right, thank you very much, Tracy Obaho. We are super proud of you. As you know, this platform is a platform that spotlights young Nigerians, and as a young Nigerian, you are truly doing amazing. We wish you all the best. And yes, you have mentioned Tare like 1 million times. Okay, yes, we watch Tare. Thank you.
In cinemas, October 24th.
Oh, thank you very much. All right. No. I mean, do what you want to say.
Okay.
Say what you want to say.
Okay, so Tare will be showing in cinemas on October 24th, so please go watch it.
All right, and we're going to send you a bill for that advert. All right, Rubbin Minds, it's been an amazing time on Rubbin Minds. I hope you truly enjoyed the conversations that we've had today. And yes, do have a beautiful day ahead. My name is Hero Daniels. Until I catch you next time, goodbye.